Since you all really enjoyed the last video, here's another one. Here are 10 more pro tips in Rainbow Six Siege to help you instantly improve at the game. Now, just like with all of my videos, this took a lot of effort and hours to make. So if you do enjoy the video, then consider hitting that sub button if you haven't already, since we're trying to hit 100k by the end of the year, and I need all the support I can get. Drop a like on this video, and even drop a comment since it does help with the algorithm. And let's get into these 10 tips. Now, this first tip is going to be for ladders. You all understand how ladders work, right? You walk up to them, you climb up it, and it takes you to a higher position. Pretty simple. But what if I told you that ladders in Rainbow Six Siege are not only useless, but they actually put you at a disadvantage for using them, and you should actively avoid using them entirely. You should never use a ladder in this game unless you're forced to. So the big downside with ladders is the fact that it puts your weapon away and makes you vulnerable. And as well as this, 99% of places in this game where ladders are, there's also an option to repel right beside them. And you'll probably understand what I'm getting at here, but repelling and ladders do the exact same job and do it at pretty much the same speed. However, repelling has the advantage of you still having your weapon active and being able to fight anyone who runs out on you or swings you, and it just gives you a lot more freedom since you can move about as well. However, ladders limit you to one space and they also take your weapons away. So let's use the balcony on Chalet as an example. You should never use this ladder because this ladder is so far to the left, and then when you climb up this ladder, it's so easy for anyone to quickly run out office, swing you, you're completely defenseless, and they get an easy pick on you. And now what you should do is simply move to the right a little bit, get the prompt to go and repel, you can get to the exact same spot in the same amount of time, but you have the added bonus of being able to move left and right, repel back down if someone swings you, and as well as this, you can fight back. You have your weapon freely to use. So be sure to keep this tip in mind the next time you're playing this game. If you see a ladder and there's an option for you to repel beside it, always use the repel option. You're gonna thank me when someone runs out on you. Now, this next tip is going to be for frag grenades. At the current point of upload, only 4 attackers in the game have frag grenades available, and that is Yana, Nuke, Glaz, and Sledge. And although you're not going to use this tip all the time, this is something extremely useful to keep in the back of your mind, because I guarantee you there'll be at least one time that you'll need to use this, and this can be the difference between winning and losing a round. And what this tip is that you can successfully open up a rotate in any soft wall 100% of the time simply by cooking a frag grenade, lining yourself up alongside the wall, throwing it at the wall just as it's about to explode, and when it does explode, it will make a perfectly rotatable hole. And I know you may be thinking this isn't the most practical use of a frag grenade, but it's little tips like these which push you above your opponents, because like I was saying, if you are put in a position where this is the only piece of utility you have and you need to rotate through a soft wall, you now know that you can do this, and that means that you'll be prepared if this situation ever arises. Right, tip number 3, this is impact tricking. I believe that everyone deserves to know this tip in this game, and this is going to be a trick which will put you way ahead of your opponents if they do not know how to do this. And you've probably heard of bandit tricking, and this is pretty much the same thing, just using impact grenades. So in a lot of locations where there's very vital reinforced walls, which is a massive part of defending that bomb site, let's say for example on the brand new consulate rework, the bottom floor, that double wall is very important. And a lot of the time around these walls, you'll find stuff such as holes above the wall, or even drone holes right beside the breach. And that is when you or your teammate as a defender can use your impact grenades and use these holes and drone holes to remove a hard breach charge which is deploying on that wall. But it doesn't only just work for reinforced walls. Here's a very useful tip on the map Clubhouse to impact trick the hatch in kitchen. Very simply, all you need to do is make a little hole in the floor at the same location I am doing in this clip. This will open a little hole between the downstairs bomb site and one of the objects on the kitchen floor. Now this is perfectly beside the hatch, meaning when you make a hole here and someone, let's say they have a Habana, she shoots her pellets on the hatch, throwing your impact grenade at this object in the kitchen will cause it to explode on the bottom of it, and the blast radius will destroy the Habana pellets or thermite charges or secondary hard breach which is on that hatch. This is a very good example of impact tricking hatches. The key to being great at impact tricking is using the environment around the wall where the device is going to be used to open it, and allowing that map object to basically take that blast, and allowing the blast radius to also hit the hard breach. There's so many more little impact tricking tips, so be sure to check me out on here as well as my TikTok, because I do post a lot of tips over there as well. This next tip is if one of the attackers bring a Dokkaebi and you're on the defensive team. A big part of Dokkaebi's ability is that when a defender is eliminated, they will drop their phone, and Dokkaebi can hack this phone to gain access to defender cameras. But did you know, when one of your teammates are eliminated, you can run over to their body, of course if it's safe and it isn't going to get you killed as well, but you can see the phone that they drop the one that Dokkaebi wants to hack, and you can actually shoot and destroy this. This will then completely deny Dokkaebi from hacking that phone, since it's now destroyed. That doesn't stop it for every defender. She can then eliminate another defender and hack their phone. It only destroys the phone of that one defender. However, this is very good because let's say you're roaming with one of your friends, they die, you see their phone get dropped, quickly destroy their phone before you leave that area. Dokkaebi is very strong in her current state, so using this little tip to slow her down or even deny her from doing it completely is very useful. You know what, let's stay on the topic of destroying operator utility, because it seems like not a lot of people realize this one as well. This is going to be for two operators, Ying and Fuse. Did you know that once Fuse has deployed his canister on a wall, the moment that little bit comes through to the other side, you can instantly destroy it, and this will stop any further explosions. Better yet, the moment a Ying Candela comes in the room, simply putting a single bullet into this Candela will completely destroy it, stopping the flashes from going off. It's just because a lot of the time when a Fuse charge or a Ying Candela goes off, people's main instinct is to run and hide. However, if you're quick enough and have good aim, you can easily destroy this utility if it is in your line of sight, stopping it from getting its full effect. So just be sure to keep this in the back of your mind the next time you're playing against these two operators. This next tip is for all of you who are tired of always getting ran out on when you go for a repel, and you want to fight back better. And this one is quite simple, but it does come down to what repel stance you're on. If you're on a normal repel, you really struggle to look below you. A lot of the time, this is how people get ran out on very easily, since they can't aim any further down and the defender has an easy shot on them. So if you're in a position where the run out is below you, then just go on vertical repel as you're making your way up that building, because that means you'll have a greater range of motion for anyone who runs out on you, and you're not going to be restricted on where you're looking. If the run out is above you, then go back to your normal repel. On both normal and upside down repel, you really struggle to look at your feet. So that means depending on where the run out is, you should try and put your feet to the complete opposite side, so you have a greater range of motion depending on the angle you're watching. This next one is all about using sound to your advantage. Two operators currently in the game who are very good at making a lot of noise to hide the sound of other things, mainly planting, is both Gridlock and Ram. Sound is one of the key aspects of Siege, and when operators like this can use their gadget to make so much noise that it hides other sound cues, is very effective, and not a lot of people talk about it. I managed to do this very successfully the other day on Steady and Bravo. We quickly opened a breach, smoked it off, Ram threw in her boogie, and I was able to go for a plant, and the defenders couldn't even hear me. Don't underestimate the power of making a bunch of loud noises in this game to distract your enemies. This next one is a very useful tip for you people who are scared about getting nitrocell from below, or maybe they have a solace and you're trying to go for a plant. Try your best to plant on a hard cover. I know that's easier said than done. There's a lot of bomb sites like on Chalet where the top floor, there's pretty much no hard cover to plant on, and that is where your second best option is going to be beds and tables. Even if you don't know they have a pulse or a solace, it is very good etiquette to place on a high up surface, just in case there is a nitrocell that flies up from below. A lot of the time, not 100% of the time, because there is occasions where a nitrocell will still kill you, these objects will protect you from getting hit from below for the most part, and just give you that extra few seconds to get the plant down, and even if you end up dying after, at least that diffuser went down and your teammates can then watch it. This is just a very good habit to get into, even if you know all the operators on the enemy team. You just want to make that plant as successful as possible, and getting it as high up off the ground is going to give you those extra chances. This next one is for claymores, and I guarantee when you use a claymore, you place it at one of the two sides, left or right, whether that's a window or a doorway. And yes, I would say this is the best way to place them if you're placing it on a window. By the way, bonus tip here, if you're a defender jumping out a window and there's a claymore in that window, you actually have a little period of time where even if you step in that laser of that claymore, you can shoot the claymore before it detonates. But that's not the point of this tip. This tip is for when you're placing claymores on barricades, specifically runouts. One that always works for me is Trench on Chalet when I go and repel on big window, but that's actually placing your claymore forward onto the barricade. This means that the moment this barricade gets destroyed or tore down, those lasers are then going to extend into the building itself, so the person on the other side of that barricade is going to just instantly explode. Because typically, if there's a claymore on the left hand side or the right hand side, this defender is going to tear down the barricade first and then look at the claymores to try and destroy them. However, you're already a step ahead, because when they go to tear down that barricade to look for the claymore is already going to surprise them. The lasers are going to then extend through the barricade once it's destroyed, and they're going to explode. Trust me, this works way more than you'd expect it to, and is 100% worth giving a try. And this final tip is for when you're breaking barricades. Very simply, it takes 3 punches to destroy a standard barricade. However, after 2 punches, it gives you the option to vault directly through one. That is why you want to do your best to hide the fact of how many times a barricade has been punched. And there's a few ways of going about this. You can hit the corners a few times and really hide how many punches there has been, especially if you're a defender and you're hiding it from the other side, breaking 2 at the bottom will not show anything on the other side since that window still looks completely closed from the attacker's point of view, meaning you can go for a quick jump out on them and they won't expect it. Or if you really wanted to, you can actually prep this by shooting the barricade a few times. I'm not going to give you a specific amount because it is sort of different for your weapons, so if there's a weapon you typically use a lot, try shooting a barricade with it a few times until it eventually breaks, so then you can start to learn how you can prep it. So if you want to get ready to run out on a door, for example, where it's really hard to hide how many punches are on it since all of it is exposed, you can shoot it a few times in the prep phase. Then when you're ready to run out, all you gotta do is put a few bullets on it and you'll basically fly through the barricade. And with that tip, those are 10 more pro tips to instantly improve at Rainbow Six Siege. Be sure to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about which one of these tips are your favorite. I personally really like the one about Dokubi's phone. I find that one very interesting. It's just a really cool interaction, and hopefully we get, you know, a defender that can then use that to their advantage. If Dokubi hacks a phone, maybe that means a defender can like rehack it and then take control of attackers' cameras. I don't know, there could be something quite interesting there. But be sure to drop a like on this video if you did enjoy, subscribe if you're new, and have a wonderful rest of your day. I love you all, stay safe, peace.